What's raging, gamers? Welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
You know me, Chris. It's Wednesday. It's time to rage.
Oh, yeah, you know the drill. We always like to start off the show with the bang and show you guys a lot of viral content that is circulating all across the World Wide Web. And get this just happened within moments of jumping on air. So TikTok creator Kelly Hire, the mastermind behind the viral Apple dance to Charlie XCX's song Apple, is now suing Roblox for allegedly biting her moves without asking first. So according to the lawsuit, Roblox is originally did reach out about licensing the dance for its Dress to Impress collab with the one and only Charlie XCX, but then seemingly hit the "we'll just do it anyways" instead button. So Kelly, who had no issue licensing the dance to Fortnite and Netflix with signed deals, says no such agreement was ever made with Roblox. So now it's less the dress to impress and more stress to confess.
Oh, Roblox. When will you never not be relevant, right?
But, you know, to be fair, though, it's like I kind of think it's a little crazy that you can actually copyright a dance move, right? I mean, don't we always say that all the time? Like, you know, we don't want to see Nintendo, you know, copyright a game mechanic. That sounds ludicrous, right? But I'm curious to see what gamers have to say about this now new lawsuit that's showing up here in the state of California with the following. Owning dances feels weird. The body can only move in so many ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of what we were insinuating at, right? I mean, it just feels like, you know, do you think that sounds right? I mean, that somebody that choreographed a dance should be able to protect their stuff? I mean, obviously, when you think of Michael Jackson, what do you think of, HenricK?
The moonwalk.
Right. And so if Michael Jackson was still around, like, okay, and what happens if I put that into my dance performance if I was Lady Gaga? I don't know.
Oh, that's naughty of you.
Very naughty. Give me my money. Oh my God, I did the dance a few times. Do I owe her money? Yeah, exactly. It's like, what if I jumped on TikTok? What if I jumped on TikTok and my dance went a lot more viral than Kelly's?
Then there would maybe be a problem.
And then Charlie XCX made the song. You know what I mean? Like, so what if she was doing the dance and then all of a sudden you came after her? See why that doesn't really make sense, gamers? I don't know. And then the last comment we got here is, didn't Fortnite show that these lawsuits always fail? Even though in this case, she's claiming that Fortnite did come out with the licensing agreement to use her dance, but we do know literally last year that Fortnite was able to dismiss a case over the floss dance, but that hasn't stopped them from being able to go into a retrial. So I don't know. I mean, I'm really curious to see what you, the gamers out there, what do you guys vibe with it? But we got so much more here to discuss on Rage Quit, so let's keep it moving. Call of Duty Warzone fans are back in Verdansk, reliving the glory days like it's 2020 all over again, minus the toilet paper shortage. Wasn't that kind of crazy? That was super stupid. Why did we all do that when that happened? But anyways, sure, you remember every rooftop and alley like the back of your trigger happy hand, but somehow that doesn't stop you from getting clapped 10 seconds after landing. So let's take a look at how welcome back sometimes mean back to the gulag.
You sound horny, be careful.
Taking fire.
I got you too, please.
Fuck, bro. I can't believe I lost that. I hit him with like 5 shots. I died to a fucking stone, bro. Like,
no way.
You did not.
No
yes,
way.
I did. Oh my God.
Recorded.
Man, that is definitely very embarrassing to die to, one of the people throwing a rock at you.
It's happened to me.
Why are you wearing that skin, man? Like, you're just drawing attention to yourself.
That's funny. I didn't even think about that. That's true. Maybe you know, it is very dark.
Yeah.
In the gulag. Maybe take that into consideration when you return back to Verdansk. But let's dive right on into the comments. HenricK, some people feel like it's what now?
a skill issue.
It's a skill issue. You know, sometimes it's just not meant for you to return back into Call of Duty Warzone. Others say deserved for using the glow stick skins.
You know what?
You were insinuating.
I don't hate the skin. I just say, you know, it does draw attention in a dark area, so maybe it wasn't the best choice.
Yeah, maybe he's just super excited to play Marathon and just wants to bring that gameplay into Call of Duty. And then you got this one that says the guy who threw the rock should get out.
Okay. Yeah, he got the kill, you know. The other guy fighting him didn't actually shoot him to kill him.
But HenricK, do you think that the guy that's like a masterful artist in throwing rocks in the gulag, do you think he can skip rocks in real life?
No.
Just a thought. No.
That's a different skill, I feel like.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, but get this, gamers. Marvel rival fans are thirsting over Emma Frost like she's the last ice cube on a hot day, but not everyone's feeling the love. And so let's take a look at how Emma's out here breaking hearts and hitboxes with her pretty OP combo.
Ready, Jelly? Ready? Yep. Here we go.
Oh, bring him to me, Tim.
That was actually crazy, bro. Oh my god, that combo is disgusting.
Yeah, it's a good combo. Easily stopped by a shield, though.
Oh, really now? Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people. Well, actually, let's go ahead and just dive right onto the comments. Let's see what people are vibing with this new Emma Frost one-shot combo. Well, Tim's a bot. So some people are saying it's less the character and more the gamer.
You know what? He has made some plays that are really good. I've seen some clips of him play, and it's like, okay, I respect it. But sometimes it's also just like, man, do you even play this game? Because it feels like you don't.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on screen. I sometimes wonder, like, what the hell is going on? And then you get comments like this. After playing her last night for the first time and being able to 40-0 against another team, yeah, she needs a huge nerf. Do you agree with this assessment? Do you feel like sometimes it's like, why do we have to touch, you know, the patch notes so early when things come into assessment? You know what I mean?
Maybe there's a little bit of balancing that needs to come into play, but I actually feel like Emma Frost is in a good spot right now. It's one of those things too when new content comes out, like a new gun or a new character in a game.
Yeah,
they tend to make them a little bit overpowered or overtuned to entice people to play it. So
yeah, thank you. I'm so glad you said that, because that's what I was kind of thinking as well. You know, it's like they purposely want to do that so everybody starts playing as that new character and getting more viral clips to start circulating all across the World Wide Web. And then I said "Kneel, peasants" out loud, and I had the police at my door at 5 minutes. Don't blame Emma Frost, blame the gamer. But hey, we want to thank you, the gamers, for always joining us live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without your support, gamers, this show would not be possible. And before we kickstart this roller coaster of a ride that we call Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, we just want to let you, the gamers, know this is my QR code. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a live show. That takes you directly to my YouTube channel.
And you see that QR code? That one goes to my YouTube channel, where there's tons of awesome content across different genres just waiting to be watched. So go check it out, leave me a comment, and I'll give you a comment back.
But HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Oh yeah, it's time to floss into the next segment, but be careful to not get sued on the way there, all right, Chris?
Yeah, that's true, that's true. Thank God I'm not a dancer. I stay in my lane!
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Blueprints. Blueprints is a game by indie developer Dogubomb and has been getting lots of critical acclaim already since release. So let's find out how this puzzle game differs itself from the usual to get such praise by first going over the gameplay. The gameplay of Blueprints is a puzzle adventure game that also happens to be a roguelike. The premise is that you have to navigate through a mansion, draft rooms each time you open a door, and try to find the secret 46th room. The roguelike part of this, however, is that each day the mansion resets itself and you must find a new path to tread. Rooms can be different types, ranging from simple hallways or corridors to rooms that give you resources, or even rooms with a downside to them. There are plenty of types of rooms, and each of them play their own own role in helping you or limiting your movement throughout the mansion. Speaking of, you have a limited amount of steps that you can take each day, determined by how many rooms you enter. When your step count goes down to 0, you must end the day and start fresh on a new day. There are some resources you can obtain in the rooms, namely keys to open doors, gems to draft special rooms, coins to buy items, and tools with specific uses. Overall, the gameplay makes you be strategic about your movement throughout the rooms of the mansion while solving head-scratching puzzles. So why are we at the mansion anyways? The story of Blueprints is set in Mount Holly Manor, an estate that the character Simon has been entrusted by his late great-uncle. The catch is that in order to fully inherit the estate, the will stated that Simon must find the 46th room in one singular day. Simon arrives at the manor and is ready to explore, and along the way he will learn about the manor and his family's history. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
I do love me a good roguelike, and it's interesting to have it be done with a puzzle game because I'm not the best at puzzles, not at least not in the right context. If it's in like the middle of an action game or something and you stop me to do a puzzle, I'm going to be a little mad.
You're like, I'm jumping directly to YouTube.
Exactly. Fortunately, this is in the right context because it is a puzzle game.
Yeah.
And it's just a unique take on a puzzle game as a result of that.
Oh, yeah,
But
definitely.
what did you feel about it, Chris? Did you get lost in the manor, or did you feel confused? I know I felt confused on some of these puzzles.
Yeah, what's the true definition of this game? It would be like what Chris Motionless said in a Motionless in White song. You give aspirin a headache. You know what I mean? Welcome to Blueprints, where you inherit a mysterious mansion and spend every day solving puzzles while slowly losing your sanity. It's like someone mashed up an escape room, a board game, and your least favorite group project and then made you play alone in silence, taking notes on your phone like a madman, HenricK.
Oh, yes, and take notes you should, because the game even encourages this. In a couple of the rooms, it says, hey, you should actually have a notebook by you to write down things that you might think are important, because every little detail matters when it comes down to it. Oh, yeah, that picture you saw? Yeah, it turns out that picture is actually part of a puzzle to open up a safe.
Yeah.
Who knew?
It's definitely very unique. I mean, especially when you see the setup of the game. You know, you play as some guy named Simon who inherits his uncle's magical Mount Holly estate because, of course, HenricK, you know, your one job is to find that mythical 46th room. Yeah, it sounds cool, right? Until you realize the layout resets every freaking night like a haunted Etch-a-Sketch. If you're into those kind of things, I don't know if I ever want to see one of those ever again in my life, because just when you think you're onto something, poof, it's gone instantly, back to square one. So hope you remember to screenshot everything like a lunatic.
Or what'll happen is you think you're making some good progress. You're getting some rooms out there that you're drafting, good ones. You're making good progress in the ranks, getting closer to the antechamber. And then the game starts throwing curveballs your way. Like, oh, we're going to throw a dark room here where you can't see what room you're trying to draft. Unique. Or you're going to get only rooms that have one entrance, meaning it's a dead end.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I got to go back and look and see if I missed anything. And if I didn't, I guess I got to come back.
You're definitely going to miss a lot of things. A lot of things. It takes multiple days just to be able to kind of retrace your steps. I mean, you've only got 50 steps a day to explore Mount Holly. It's a shifting mansion with 45 rooms. You have to view it like a 9x5 grid because, you know, in the end, I mean, the key to your inheritance is finding out whether this 46th room even exists or not. So each room comes with doors pointing in random directions. So you're basically like a glorified hallway DJ, or, you know, live out your dream of, you know, building up your dream home. But then again, you start to find out real quickly, you don't get to decide. You have to find out the puzzle scheme to take you all the way to the top, because you're drafting rooms and praying that you don't walk face first into a closet. I mean, some rooms help, some of them are dead ends, and then just others just exist as to test how far you're willing to go for that sweet, sweet dopamine hit of maybe, just maybe, finally finding that room 46.
And what did you feel about the world building and the storytelling, Chris? I mean, it's one of those games that you're going to have to take the time to read things. I know it's your favorite.
Well, I was actually going to tease you. I feel like this is the game that you can't stand doing because I feel like you said it in the past pause or repeat. Maybe it was for Adamfall that you're like, dude, even with the Skyrim lore, I wasn't reading any of those books. I could care less.
I mean,
now you're forced to do it,
HenricK. A little bit of a different context. So like I was saying at the beginning of this segment, you know,
okay,
if you're going to pull me out of the action to make me read something, then I'm going to get a little upset, or I'm just not going to read it. I'm going to toss it to the side and never think about it again. But in this context, it's like, okay, maybe I should stop and read because I'm already taking my time to look at everything. Why not take that 30 seconds to read a piece of paper I find?
Yeah, fair, HenricK. But like, didn't you feel like as you connect rooms and avoid dead ends, the game becomes more like you're Batman facing off against the Riddler, gassed out in Scarecrow's fierce toxins? I mean, you're not just exploring, you're solving puzzles while mapping your path, while trying not to lose your mind. And it demands spatial reasoning, memory, and the patience of a monk with a clipboard, which I clearly don't have. And so when the game throws you these very clever puzzles like the dartboard, I would say map room. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like where, you know, colors mean different equations. Oh my gosh, my head hurts. I don't know if I want to revisit that, but for others.
Once I figured that out, that was a breeze for me once I figured that one out. But getting to that point was the difficult part.
It just really made me stay I mean, I got as far as geometry. Okay. All right. They're making me feel bad about how I succeeded in high school. Okay. But you know, going back to what you said, the story, right? I mean, yeah, technically there is one, but like, you know, something with like a family secrets, political drama, or a missing rider, whatever. I don't know, HenricK. I was too busy trying not to walk into a wall to care. I mean, this game again it's definitely gonna test your patience. That's for sure. And I generally can't tell if I'm playing a game or slowly mapping out my descent into madness.
And the test of patience is going to be why this game is maybe not going to vibe with everyone. Because if you're not willing to take that time to enter a room, taking all the details and see if you can find something like a key or hidden in a corner or a gem hidden on a table that you maybe would have walked by otherwise. If you're not that kind of person to do that, maybe this isn't going to be the game for you.
Bro,
it is a very intriguing game, but you know, you just have to take that into consideration.
Bro,
Speaking
you know
of,
well, I was going to say real quick, HenricK, you know how long it took me to figure out what the blueprints actually means? I mean, say it like really fast 3 times. Blueprints. What does that sound like? A blueprint.
Yeah.
Blueprint. You're building the blueprint to the house mansion.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, I knew this game wasn't for me. It took me forever to figure that out. And so, you know, in fairness, you know, props to Blueprints for innovation, but the replay value, HenricK, like the replay value, let's just say it's stuck behind a locked door with no key in sight. For me, it's a pause. It definitely wasn't something that I wanted to revisit again. Definitely very innovative. I know some people are even hyping it up as game of the year. That might be too much of a bold statement, but I'm curious on how you're vibing with this game.
Yeah, it's a good take on a roguelike and the puzzle genre and meshing the two together. But I'm not really the kind of person to go out of my way to play puzzle games more than once in the first place. This one tries to get rid of the, you know, oh, I already know the solution sort of thing, but it still is going to be a pause for me just because I'm not so excited to go back into it after beating it one time, you know?
Well, you probably got so frustrated when you walked into that dark room and you were like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot that the generator had a switch to turn the lights on. And I ran out of steps, and do I have the will, the way to make another day, to keep pushing on forward for the 46th room. But hey, we want to know from you, the gamers, if you have played Blueprints, are you vibing with this game? I mean, or does it have that replay factor for you, or is it a pause to play something else? Let us know what's good. But man, oh man, we got so much more here left on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Oh yeah, let's get it.
What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. And before we begin, please note that this segment includes a discussion of sexual assault and incest. So the controversy surrounds a video game called No Mercy, a 3D visual novel from Xarat Games featuring non-consensual sex and incest. And so why you guys are probably wondering why we're bringing this up. Well, the game rated adults only and only accessible via a credit card was recently removed from Steam in the UK after public outcry and comments from the UK Technology Secretary Peter Kyle, who called the game, quote, deeply worrying, end quote, on April 9th during a radio interview. So following day, Xarat Games defended the title, stating that while real life incest is, quote unquote, disgusting, themes like rape and male domination are nonetheless, quote unquote, kinks. Not my words, the studio's words, okay? So No Mercy is not rated by the ESRB or PEGI, and since Steam doesn't require official ratings, pressure is growing for the platform to revisit its content policies. So let's take a look at how gamers are responding to this most recent news. So let's go ahead and dive into the first comment. The game was called No Mercy, where it was described as you being a woman's quote unquote worst nightmare. And now the developer is like, guys, I'm sorry. We just wanted to make our own little witty little fetish game and we didn't mean nothing by it. With Jesus Christ. Yeah. I mean, come on. You need wow. And then you also get comments like this. After catching your own mother betraying your father, you uncovered the true nature of women. End quote. That's an actual quote from the game's description. This shit screams incel. So with the follow-up, also, I hate that it's just a game excuse. All art forms, including games, do influence people for better or for worse, and different people will be influenced in different ways to different extents. This is just undeniable fact. Of course, the average Joe isn't going to go out there and intimidate, whatever he saw in a video game, but there sure are people out there with pre-existing issues who can be further desensitized and encouraged by them. And the community that's into this particular type of game definitely has a higher rate of those people. Let's keep it moving. So the next comment we have here is human fetishes that don't harm anyone. And that he's quoting what the studio developer said the following day. And he's like, damn, didn't know rape and incest were harmless. And with the follow-up comment that reads, that's not the problem with the game. The problem is the extreme incel-like misogyny it promotes. It wasn't violently misogynistic. I personally think it would be fine if they gave the game a disclaimer saying that they don't promote these things happening in real life. But that's the thing. You're actually playing as a character that does these horrific acts. And well, it's crazy. And then we also get comments with that surface up on Reddit that say, there is a place for a piece of fiction like a video game to let people live out harmful fantasies and fetishes that they know are harmful and would only engage with in fictional setting. Done well, it could even have mental health resource on those issues built in and help to both educate and come to grips with harmful fantasies. Even work past them by exploring the consequences in a controlled fictional setting. Such a product would still probably have people online scream at it for having those fetishes, and freaks would still take it as promoting them. But I would stand by something like that as an important thing to let exist, even if disgusted me on some level. This is not that. The description literally talks about, quote, the true nature of women, end quote. This game was made not to sort out or come to acceptance with harmful fetishes, but to fuel hatred. No other reason. We don't need something like this to exist. And then we have what reads, people need to read the game description. And yes, it's too much to read on air, but it's the most vile thing I've seen. The developers is a loser maniac who needs help. And let's go into the last comment that reads, there's a point in life where kink shaming isn't enough. We need kink bullying. And so, HenricK, is it time for Steam to implement stricter content moderation? And should there be clearer limits on what belongs on major gaming platforms, especially when games like No Mercy make it onto the storefront?
Yeah, it makes you really wonder when a situation like this happens, if it was a good choice for Steam back in 2018 to allow adult games to start be published on their platform. Because yes, I'm sure there's games out there that are fine, but that fall under the adult content warning. But at the end of the day, there's also going to be things like this that happen where controversial games end up blowing up in Steam's face, and now they got to deal with the backlash of it. And it probably is going to mean that there is going to end up having to be some extra content moderation on the platform, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something that a lot of people can be hesitant about because, people worry about censorship as a big thing that's encroaching on all sorts of media, not just gaming, all sorts of media. And it becomes a slippery slope for a lot of censorship is what people make as the argument. In this case, maybe it is better to have some moderation, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I was Valve, I don't know if I would want to be represented as, promoting this kind of style of gameplay on our storefront. Back in 2021, we had a little bit of an insight on how Valve operates, and they have about an employee staff of about 366 people. No one really knows the true number right now that's in the workforce for Valve, but just think about that. 366 people that work for Valve, and then they say that over 79 people are in the Steam department. How are 79 people able to vet over tens of thousands of video games being flooded into the Steam market? And also taking into account too what we reported a couple weeks back, that Steam is very excited to get their games published on more platforms, including your console device. Xbox, I'm talking about you. So when you see, how did this get on the platform? Yeah, exactly. How did this even get through? Well, that has been part of the conversation that is being brought up, right, Larry? Some of the things that people are wondering is like, should Steam start considering, HenricK, third-party content ratings such as ESRP or PEGI? Because clearly right now, or what is the case, that's not a requirement for all games on Steam. Would you like to see that change, HenricK, or do you think it needs to, let's say, have a stronger internal review process? Maybe need to be able to have an AI system that can flag, especially when you submit your game description to Steam, especially if you're going to be exploring a very pornographic game, which this is just totally straight. I don't even know if I would even label it as porn because, don't porn, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say right there. But what I'm trying to get at is don't they feel like they should be able to flag games with potentially harmful, explicitive material for a manual inspection before approval?
Yeah, I'm sure that there is some sort of thing they're probably even considering after a situation like this to have some sort of automated oversight to see and make sure that this doesn't happen all the time. At the same time, though, I know ESRB is more for the mainstream games, the games that'll end up on consoles as well.
But should Steam be treated as a mainstream storefront?
Yes, maybe they should be, because PC is such a huge player in the gaming atmosphere. I know that the console makers want to play down PC over and over again, but the numbers don't lie. We've seen how many people will play on Steam concurrently around the world. It's a huge platform.
Yeah.
You can't ignore it. It's such a huge platform.
Yeah, if I was a parent, HenricK, I would be very concerned to get my kid a Steam Deck at this current state right now. Guys, and girls, it's really easy to jump on Steam right now. Currently, Steam, the studio withdraw the game from Steam. UK took it down, Australia, and I believe Canada as well. It was still available in the United States until the studio pulled it off. And you could still go to that Steam page right now, today, and you could easily bypass the age verification system to be able to see their gameplay trailer, read their horrendous gameplay description of what you're supposed to do, because again, you play as an individual who catches their stepmother cheating on their father, and then you do your things with your stepmother to do what? I don't understand why Steam and Valve would want to be represented by this kind of style of gameplay. I mean, I feel like, creator accountability and transparency definitely needs to be a requirement with developers to provide a clear content warnings and a detailed breakdown of mature themes during the submission process. Maybe this can, stop that. But I just find it crazy that, Steam doesn't have a better system to be able to go through a way more rigorous age verification or just even approval steps to even access 18 plus content categories. But then again, that's up for you, the gamers, to decide. Do you find that, too much moderation in video games isn't enough? Or do you feel like there's something that we're not saying between HenricK, the Rec, and I that should be considered, that Valve should bring into practice when it comes to their own Steam storefront? Let us know what's good. But let's start to switch the tone a little bit. I know we kind of started on a very heavy note on patch notes, but man, a bit of negativity this week when it comes to video games just in general. I thought we were supposed to be excited for these things. Right, yeah, exactly.
Everyone wants to hate something nowadays, and
tell me about it.
First-person shooters are the rock stars of the gaming world. Loud, flashy, and constantly asking you to reload. Don't we all just reload after a couple bullets, right?
Yeah, I know. I do it all the time.
I have that huge habit. It's pretty bad when you get into a game that throws away the whole magazine.
Yeah.
Anyways, the genre of first-person shooters has given us esports like Counter-Strike, Fortnite, Apex Legends, Valorant, big titles that are very popular. But for every FPS that goes platinum, a few hit the bargain bin before the final kill cam.
Yep.
And what is an example? Well, we got a couple big examples. Concord is the case in point by Firewalk Studios, now shut down by Sony, which released last year in 2024 and promptly speedrun its way into flop legend status because it only lasted, what was that, like a week?
Yeah, a couple
Something
weeks.
like that.
Pretty bad.
And remember the hype around Shroud, content creator Shroud? He had a game coming out called Spectre Divide. It was going to be this huge groundbreaking thing in the tactical shooter market.
Do I know that game?
We don't remember that game anymore, even though
like most games.
Linked to Shroud. Yeah. Well, now Bungie, the masterminds behind the original Halo, 5 games they made, I believe, and Destiny, are trying to respawn their legacy with Marathon, which is them bringing back an old IP of theirs. Yeah. But the reception has been less than legendary.
Yeah.
So, does Marathon stand a chance against the genre giants, or is it about to get quick-scoped off the leaderboard before it even loads in? Let's take a look at the comments after this video. And so, as you can imagine, there's a lot of talk online and lots of discourse about that clip and the whole reveal in total. So let's go ahead and dive into those comments, Chris.
Yeah, let's jump right on into Bungie's upcoming title. Yeah, I was starting to get the vibes of like Apex Legends and a little bit of Splitgate 2 with that gameplay. But yeah, I'm with you, HenricK. I'm really curious on what gamers have to say about Marathon. So let's dive right on in. They should have just focused on Destiny 3 and making it exciting and intriguing again. Marathon could be a massive failure. Like, do you ever consider that the studio wanted to try to do something new? But then, as you insinuated, HenricK, Marathon actually was a game from Bungie all the way back in 1994. I was born in the year 93.
Even before Halo, guys. So keep that in mind.
Maybe this was a passion project that they've always wanted to see the light of day. And, it does kind of seem a little bit wild in a sense that people are already shitting on the product before it even comes out.
Yeah.
Bungie has this issue, sure, but gunplay has never been one of them, with a follow-up comment that reads, indeed, the only thing I miss about Destiny was the gunplay. A little wordplay there for you, I see.
Yeah, you actually, I can agree with that. I spent a good amount of time with the boys grinding out Destiny 2 during the height of the pandemic when we were stuck inside, not really much else to do. And yeah, that game fell off after the expansion that we grinded our heart outs to. Because
but it feels like conflicting people. That one guy likes gunplay and the other one doesn't.
Yeah, and the gunplay, it always felt satisfying. You know, I know people can be a little hit or miss with whether they like the PvP aspect of the Destiny series, but even just in the PvE, the gunplay is just really well done. Spectacularly done.
But then you get comments like this, though, HenricK. Extraction shooters are either under the radar, niche, or took off. I welcome this game to hopefully breed some innovation with competition like what Marvel Rivals did to Overwatch. And yeah, I think that's what we all want to see. No one wants to see, just a tiny, majority of games, leading the charge in the market. I mean, how does that, create, open doors for other games to prosper in the industry?
You need competition so that everyone innovates, because if everyone doesn't innovate, then there's problems.
But then you get Asmongold, and he says some games deserve to be aborted. Concord is the reason why I'm pro-choice. Marathon looks okay, but the characters look over-designed and are not visually appealing. I don't know. I kind of thought it was kind of cool. Be a little different, how many battlefields, how many war zones do we need?
There's points in those trailer reveals where it does look really cool, I will say. And it makes me kind of excited at some points. But then you look at other points and between the gameplay and maybe it's something about the art style clashing with the environments, but there's something that
you mean this, HenricK? You mean this? Meanwhile, the art style is like a hydrogen bomb and mixed with the coughing baby. I don't know. I felt like with Concord's character developments, I felt like nobody could actually relate to them. At least with, I don't know, from some of the scenes that I've seen from the trailer so far, it definitely feels like it's trying to be this, cyberpunk, sci-fi kind of style of an extraction shooter. And I say, why not? I like those kind of style games. I don't know why. I mean, this still kind of gave me the vibes of like Apex and, Splitgate too. But then again, we're going to have to see whether, gamers will fulfill in the end and play this game. And the last comment is, I hate gamers. You guys complain about everything. It's not even out. This really is so exhausting. Nobody hates games like gamers for some reason. No, we do this stuff all the time. It's not just video games.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, the running joke when every time you see a video game or a movie trailer, you know what I mean? We're always going to judge whether we think it's a terrible casting or not. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that love our Snape, right? And we're starting to get more casting call reviews, you know what I mean? And like, so you're so fixated and viewed one way where you're like, how can they do this to us? But then again, we haven't even seen it yet. It might blow us out of this world. I mean, John Lithgow, he's supposed to play Dumbledore. He's a fantastic actor. Every time I see him, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe you're better off as Lord Farquaad, not Dumbledore. But HenricK, let's bring it back to Marathon, because is this game really the next big FPS, or are we just watching Bungie get hit with the 360 no-scope of gamer backlash? And be honest, I don't want you finessing, dancing around this, HenricK. Are these comparisons to Concord legit feedback, or are we just watching a toxic fan base treat Bungie like a team killed their entire childhood?
Yeah, no, to label this the same level as Concord is a wild statement. That game was an incredibly bad experience. We even reviewed it in a pause to repeat and got to experience firsthand how bad it was. So you can take it from us that game deserved not to live, in a sense, because of how bad it was. This one, we don't know how it's actually going to play when it's fully out, and two, it doesn't look like Concord, guys. Come on.
Well, I can see where like some people could compare it to Concord because like one, it is an FPS shooter category. It does have those bright neon color schemes, so like some people kind of freak out about that kind of stuff. Henrik,
I think at the same time though, Chris, a lot of people are bringing up the Concord argument because this seems like the game everyone's hating right now and might end up flopping. So, oh, it's a Concord look-alike because it's gonna flop. Oh, it's woke. Also, I saw women in the trailer.
But can you also see?
Come on.
But can you also see it as though like they both feature outer space settings? You know, they both include hero classes with these unique abilities. And to also add, Henrik, several former Bungie developers were involved in Concord's production. So is there a case in point to be made there? Or, you know, you could say that Marathon will include plenty of clones, you know what I mean? That'll come even after them. So, I mean, it's I do feel like it is, you know, fair to hate on gamers sometimes when they just start shitting on games before they even get their hands on it. But like you said, you know, Marathon is older than Concord. Well, kind of, right? You know, it is still going to be released later on this year in 2025. It will be, you know, it is inspired by an early multiplayer shooter that was released in 1994. While, you know, Marathon and Concord are both shooters, they have different formats. And what do we mean by that? Marathon is what they call an extraction shooter, meaning its players must enter zones, loot, and leave with profit. However, Concord had various game modes involving control points and objectives similar to Overwatch 2. So again, it's not necessarily fair to compare the both, as you know, Marathon players compete in solo or in groups of up to 3, while Concord was a 5 versus 5 title, right?
Yes.
And so maybe Bungie will bring what everybody loves, weapon customization. It seems like that's what's something that they've been hyping up about. I love those kind of cool mechanics. You know, that's why I think, you know, as much as we like to kind of clown on Black Ops 6 a little bit, the weapon customization is pretty badass, right? I mean, I think a lot of people like to mess around with their gear. So we'll have to see what happens. Maybe tone it down with the aim assist, even when the game comes out, so we can have a little bit more smoother duels. But we want to hear from,
I'm a little worried personally for, you know, it being an extraction shooter. It's like the newest hit genre after the battle royale scene kind of died off, and just also some of it doesn't look too enticing. But yeah, I wonder
what the price tag is going to be like, considering that we know Nintendo, for some of their, you know, strongest IP, wants $80 to $90 for their video games.
It's going to be $40.
Okay, so Helldivers 2,
a title that's like $40, but also has microtransactions inside
I feel
the game.
like, gosh, because almost every other day you see some pretty awesome Helldivers 2 gameplay that almost looks like something out of a blockbuster action film. I just wonder if Marathon can deliver on that same plateau. I don't know. I mean, it's really up to, you know, you, the gamers, to decide. I mean, would this be a bigger win if it was a free-to-play experience with the Battle Pass experience? I'm only hearing that there's only going to be 3 maps at launch. So is that even enough? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I mean, when I hear that, $40 maybe. There's even rumors of it, Henrik, going up to $60, but nothing's confirmed at this time. But you know, just to throw it back at you, the gamers, are you vibing with Marathon? Do you think it's cool? Do you think this is just another mistake that Bungie is even putting themselves through? Let us know what's good. But man, we still got so much more here left to discuss on Patch Notes. This is Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So gamers, we finally got the official word, and it's straight from the legal Respawn point. Ubisoft's lawyers have pulled no punches in their court filing to dismiss a case, boldly declaring, quote, "You don't own your video games," end quote. What? I mean, according to Ubisoft, when you buy a game, you're not really buying it. You're just renting a backstage pass to the digital concert, and then they can kick you out whenever they want. You're not an owner. You're more like a long-term guest with no fridge privileges. What? Well, I thought this was my house, not an Airbnb. So the lawsuit came after Ubisoft shut down 2014's The Crew, and as of March 2024, the game is officially unplayable. No servers, no physical or digital copies, nothing. Even if you already owned it, tough shit. It's gone like a loot drop in a lag. And with news dropping that the Nintendo Switch 2 games will cost $80 to $90 a pop, What do you mean I don't own those games? What are we trying to say? I mean, at least you get to own the taste on the cartridge. You know, when you want to taste it so bad, right? Because Nintendo wants to make such a big deal about how it tastes so
Yeah, if
great.
you like how bitters taste in your mouth, you know, the Nintendo Switch cartridges are right up your alley, guys.
I guess that's the one thing you can claim as your own. But what do gamers think about this? Are we cool with being glorified game squatters? I don't know. I want to know what the comments have to say and see how many controllers were launched after this one. So, yes, let's go ahead and dive right on in. So the first comment we got here is, let me do it one more time. The handy dandy live. If buying games is not owning them, then pirating is not stealing. Yeah, I mean, it's just, that's why
that is the argument people make.
And that's why I think a lot of more people are hating on live service games moving forward. You know what I mean, HenricK? It's not like, gosh, I mean, not every game can live on like Fortnite. You know what I mean? And so like when every game's under a live service, this sucks, right?
Yeah, and I've seen been a huge push for people to just play live service games from all the studios, right? As you've seen as well. But I've actually seen a lot of people going back to playing just single player games as a result of all of the just being tired of live service games in today's landscape.
Yeah, I mean, why do you think so many people are into mods and emulators and stuff like that? Because they feel like they can get a little bit more control with their gaming. And I've never wished for a studio closure more than Ubisoft. People are just continually shitting on the fact of their gaming practice. What do you mean? How can we support you moving forward if you're claiming that we don't even get to own your games? And then you also have statements like this. I can understand why a company would hold this opinion quietly to themselves, but going public with this kind of opinion? How is Ubisoft expecting for this opinion to be received? If anything, they just made themselves sound bad for no gain. Okay. You can't say this stuff quietly if you're being sued in court. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
but at the same time, I see what David here is saying, because it's just a completely
asinine statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, especially when this is being challenged here in the state of California. And that's exactly why Ubisoft isn't doing so great these days. Some would beg to differ, but, they do got that, that pearly launch. Remember Skull and Bones? They got a new launch. There's sword fights you can do now. Oh, wait, during year 2, not during on launch. Oh, that's right. And then you also get comments that say, has there ever been a class action lawsuit against these studios? Because honestly, why the hell should consumers just accept bug-riddled, unoptimized dumpster fires sold as quote-unquote finished games with a wink and a promise they'll maybe patch it later? Yeah, I think that's my biggest frustration. The fact that, like, I even saw that with Death Stranding 2 just recently. They're like, we're 80% complete with the game. What? What do you mean you're able to start pre-orders and the game's not finished? Like, I mean, I'm really excited for the sequel, but like, I don't understand how that is a continued trend, and then gamers continue to support those kind of things. But let's dive into the last comment real quick, and then I'll bring you right into this, HenricK. If buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't stealing. So, HenricK, if I don't actually own my $90 video game, what's next? Spotify yanking my playlist mid-chorus? Netflix repossessing that movie I fell asleep during? Or is my smart fridge going to start charging fees every time I want crushed ice cubes? Okay,
don't give them ideas.
All right, I'm giving people ideas. That's true. So where does this limited license madness end?
Yeah, it's a very slippery slope with this, and we'll have to really see what the court ruling ends up being, because if it goes the wrong way, then that means that yes, every studio will just capitalize on the fact that you don't own your game. When you say that you're buying a game, it doesn't mean you're actually buying the game. And technically this already is a thing when you look at the PC market, because Steam clearly has said prior to this whole discussion today that when you buy a game on Steam, you're not actually buying the game, you're buying a license to play the game. Yeah. Even though it says you're buying the game.
No, that's definitely fair. I know at the end of last year, the two gamers that took Ubisoft to court were stating that they were, quote unquote, under the impression that they were paying to own and possess the video game The Crew instead of paying for a limited license to use The Crew. So, you know, the complaint or what they were stating is that they accused Ubisoft of violating California's false advertising law, unfair competition law, and Consumer Legal Remedies Act, as well as common law fraud and breach of warranty claims. You know, what's also makes this a bit more interesting too, HenricK. I don't know if a lot of gamers know this out there, especially here in state laws with California around gift cards. They're not allowed to expire. And so some people feel like that law can still apply when it comes to video games. But then this also opens up, you know, a tentacle, you know, of problems because, you know, as I know you've stated this in the past when we talked about this, oh my gosh, literally last season, right? Waiting for an update from Ubisoft. You know, this opens up the doors for what does that mean for apps, softwares. It's not just about video games.
No, it is an entirely just a market issue, really, because when you look at all the different kinds of media that we consume nowadays, even if you're buying something like a book off of Amazon, we've seen before that Amazon has clearly said, you know what, you bought that book, but we're still going to take it back because we want to take it off our platform. Okay, but you said that I bought the book. So now you're saying that I don't actually have the book, even though you said I bought the book. So there's just a lot of confusion with this sort of thing. And it needs to be cleared up because it feels predatory. Even if they're not necessarily trying to be predatory, it feels predatory. And that's just not a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, especially since we are every day moving away from physical copies and pushing more towards cloud gaming and digital space. I think it's one thing when you're utilizing a streaming service, clearly after the end of the month and you don't pay up for the next, you're not going to get ownership rights to be able to have this free form of video games, you know, at the comfort of your living room, right? But when you buy a licensed game and it's in your Steam library or wherever you buy it from, whether it's Battle.net, you name it, Ubisoft, you know, Connect, there's so many different game launchers out there. You would feel like you have the ownership rights to your video games. But then again, you know, you're starting to make me think about how even social media companies view freedom of speech, right? Not everybody falls under United States laws and they'll, you know, open up cases, you know, per country, right? And so, yeah, it's definitely very, very messy because, again, you know, 2014's The Crew is no longer playable. No version of the game, whether it's physical or digital or even owned already, can be bought and played in any capacity, with the servers going dark completely at the end of March 2024. What I do find intriguing, HenricK, just to kind of end this on an end note, they took measures to create offline versions of The Crew 2 and the sequel of The Crew Motorfest to enable players to keep playing, but no similar action was taken for the original. Sit on that, gamers.
Yeah.
If they can make it happen.
They have to put in the effort to do it. And so for them, that means money.
money. And so, well, yeah, I mean, do you find this, you know, to be something that definitely needs to be addressed on a nationwide front, not just at a state, you know, level as it's being addressed right here in the state of California where we're broadcasting live? Or do you feel like, you know, Ubisoft does have a point to claim when it comes to the future of digital licensing? Let us know what's good. But man, oh man, this has been such a great show. HenricK, let's have some fun now. Come on now, because this is one of the more intriguing Reddit posts. I know. Gosh, I was supposed to roll it in. I just kind of teased it already. Damn you, Chris.
You know what? Though Reddit, it never disappoints. And this time, it's a gamer under fire from the final boss of his marriage, his wife. And what did she say? Well, apparently, she thinks video games are juvenile, and that playing them makes him less attractive. She said she always doesn't get them or understand why anyone would willingly want to spend hours saving fake worlds, grinding experience points, or rage quitting over blue shells. So now the gamers asking the community, is there any hope of changing her mind? Or am I destined to sneak in midnight sessions like I'm cheating on her with my Xbox? Well,
Yeah.
Let's scroll through the gamer hive mind and see what the internet's finest have to say with the following comments.
Yes, I am very curious. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be mean. See,
Probably.
let's go in. Anything anyone does to relax could be called pointless, trivial, lazy, childish, etc. Do not, in all caps, give up doing what you enjoy. I'm the same age as you, and I have also gamed my whole life. My wife loves trashy TV, Housewives, and other Bravo reality crap. I could tear her down for how dumb I think that is. She could tear me down for my silly games, but we don't because we live and understand each other. With a follow-up comment that reads, it's important to have hobbies that you enjoy, and gaming is a legitimate form of entertainment.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
there's a lot of support there.
Does have things that maybe some people don't necessarily understand or agree with, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's like when I watch.
What makes your hobby your hobby.
Yeah,
you
it's
enjoy it.
It's like my mom. Yes, I'm calling you out, Mom. I love you, Mom. I know you're watching, but like, I don't get that you watch Naked and Afraid. That like I don't why why do we have to teach you? I'm gonna show you a nice video game you can play on your phone. Okay, Mom. That stuff scares me. And then I'll be honest, brother, it's not a game issue. I have a house, kid, dog, wife, etc. too, and my wife is a gamer too. I think she might have said this either on the moment or because of something else on her mind. Good luck. So yeah, maybe it's something deeper than video games. Sounds like you've been married a long time. No, might be time to do a deeper check-in on your relationship, as this sounds to me like something that goes way beyond video games. Edit a word. Just have a word.
Yeah. We got a lot of psychoanalyst people on Reddit apparently about
people are really good
and how the relationship is comparing.
Yeah, why need marriage counseling when you can jump directly to Reddit? And then this sounds like it might be one of two things. One, she thought she could overlook it and the resentment has built up, or two, she's upset with you about something else and she is saying this to hurt you. Either way, both are super shitty reasons to do this, and if it doesn't interfere with other aspects of what sounds like a pretty sweet life you've built for yourself. And let's dive into this one. Don't give up something that you enjoy to make someone else happy. I'm assuming it's not a financial burden or that it's taking time away from quality time with each other, right? I'd imagine it might be something deeper than just video games, but it's coming up through them. Talk to her about it. Tell her it's a way that you relieve stress and enjoy yourself. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Communication is key.
Yeah, communication's key. And then this reminds me of when my mom came to visit me for my 40th birthday after putting my son to bed. I started playing Metroid Dread, and she asked if I was going to give up playing video games. And the irony here is that she was literally playing Candy Crush on her phone when she asked this. So yes, I love our loving parents. But HenricK, what advice would you give a fellow gamer whose wife thinks saving the galaxy makes him less attractive? Should he trade in his console for a candlelit dinner, or should he hang up the controller altogether?
You know, maybe some of these posts have something that they're cooking. They're cooking
a little bit in a sense, you think?
Because communication really is important in a relationship. And maybe what this means is you should just talk with your wife. See what's going on. How are you doing? Are you doing okay? Why are we having an argument about me playing video games? Is it that I take too much time doing that and not give you attention? What's going on? How can we?
Where's the less attractive come in? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
She probably it's not the Mountain Dew. Maybe it's the talk can of Monster. You got your Cheeto Puffs in hand. You don't want to. You're always doing takeout. You're calling for Uber Eats. Is that what's going on? I don't know. But HenricK, I thought about this. Okay.
Yeah.
I have compiled 4 steps on how to approach your wife or your future significant other, okay? Or your future lover, all right?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got relationship advice with Chris Collins himself.
That's right. Okay, HenricK, I need your approval on this. Step one, you're gonna have to sit her down. Okay, you're gonna have to look her directly in the eyes. Okay, and say, babe, look, I may not be attractive when I'm grinding that XP, but I am committed. I'm resourceful, and I'm great under pressure. Just ask my Warzone squad. Okay, that's number one. That's the step one. You gotta let her know it's this communication skills come into play when you're playing Fortnite and Warzone. Okay, number two, compromise. Listen, maybe you limit your gaming during date nights, but she lets you frag digital enemies in peace on the weekends. Love is about give and take, and sometimes rage quitting in private is what you might need. Step number three, offer to co-op life. Hand her a second controller, even if she's not really playing. No, I'm just kidding. You have to let her play. If she still says no, explain that video games aren't juvenile. They're just digital soap operas with explosions and fewer commercials. And then show her Split Fiction. And then step four, worst case scenario, tell her you married me in the PlayStation. We're a package deal like Netflix and Bad Decisions. There, case in point, relationships take work, but so do the boss fights. So choose your battles and always pause during the cutscenes. It's respectful. But if there's a relationship advice that I'm missing that we need to help this I would say younger lad, but you know, he's the whippersnapper. Why are we helping him? I'm not even in a relationship, but maybe he needs me truly after all. But gamers, is there something that we're missing that's a great advice to keep you on the console and still marriage in your love life? Let us know. What's good. But man, we can't thank you, the gamers, everyone, for tuning in to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. And just to give you guys a friendly reminder, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. This is my QR code directly to my YouTube channel. Join the fun. Always reading the comments. You guys are always so grand, even if sometimes you just want to call me out for things that you clearly only watched on the short. Watch the full segment, all right?
And that is the QR code to my YouTube channel. So bask in its glory. Yes, it is there for you to scan. So go ahead and give that scan a try. It goes there. Go watch some videos. Leave a comment. I read them all, even the bad ones. Yeah. So yes, if you're clowning me, I am reading that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I always think it's funny when someone says, well, you didn't say this or you didn't state that. It's like, dude, you're watching the short. Go watch the full segment. We post a lot of different content on both of our YouTube channels. Bring the fuel, bring the fire. We always love it. But for you, the gamers, we can't thank you, all you guys and girls out there around the world, for tuning in, checking out Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. We do, in fact, have our season finale showing up next week, so hopefully you guys will join along for the ride. We got so much packed in, and we'll see you then. But in the near future and infinity and beyond, play all the video gaming. Don't let no one dictate your love of gaming. No.
Maybe get your loved ones.
Not on my watch. Not on my watch. No. Just I don't know. Put her back on Candy Crush or something. Anyways, we're out of here. Peace.
See ya.